It's bad behavior. It's my opinion. Bad behavior, yeah.
No emotion, a job and a mission that needs to be completed.
And as soon as it broke out, I was over on the other side and I go, "Fuck, I know exactly what that is."
But if I didn't meet this guy, it would have been bad. I just can't believe how I met this guy.
Breaking Anthony Joshua came live and finally broke the silence on what really happened in the ring with Jake Paul. What fans didn't see was the moment everything changed. According to Joshua, Jake Paul crossed the line during the fight and spit on Anthony Joshua, and that single act triggered the ruthless burst of punches that ended it all.
In Daniel, completely different animal, but in terms of memories.
If you watch the fight closely, frame by frame, you can see exactly why Anthony Joshua is telling the truth. The moment respect disappears, Joshua's body language changes, the pressure doubles, and the response becomes instant and vicious, leaving Jake Paul with no room to survive.
And he took it! Jake Paul took it! Oh, the right hand by Paul!
Even if he does land his best shot at the moment, not that much is going to happen.
And it almost, oh, there's a left hook. Oh, no!
Usyk is directly addressing Jake Paul's bad behavior, making it clear that actions inside the ring have consequences. He's saying you must think before you act, not try to justify it after the damage is done. That message lines up perfectly with what unfolded, because once that moment happened, Anthony Joshua's response became unavoidable and brutally decisive.
You must think before, think what after.
Johnny Nelson is saying he's genuinely surprised and expected far more class, which tells you he doesn't see this as normal fight hype. He's hinting that something deeper pushed this situation over the edge. That's important because Nelson understands fighter behavior. When someone like him senses something boiling underneath, it supports the idea that Jake Paul did more than just talk. And once that respect barrier broke, Anthony Joshua's reaction inside the ring became inevitable.
I thought it was a bitch move. I really did.
Have you spoken?
I would never. If you chin someone at a presser, if you do that, it's different. But when you
Johnny Nelson is saying this situation is serious enough to demand immediate investigation. He's questioning why it happened and making it clear this isn't standard boxing conduct. That level of concern speaks volumes. When respected figures react like this, it shows the moment shocked the sport. It adds credibility to Anthony Joshua's explanation because reactions like that don't come from scripted drama. They come from something genuinely crossing the line inside the fight.
Unfortunately, there is going to be there needs to be an inquiry straight after this. Why, what? But that's what I'm hearing. This news is as fresh to me as it is you. I'm quite sure when this goes out, it'll be all over the place anyway.
Francis Ngannou is saying it was done on purpose and admitting that once he reflected on it, the outcome was already decided. He's recognizing intent and consequence in the same breath. That honesty matters because fighters at that level don't speak lightly. When someone like Nano sees it as deliberate, it strengthens Anthony Joshua's case. One intentional act flipped the switch, and from that moment on, Joshua stopped holding back and ended it decisively.
Do
you think it was done on purpose?
It was done on purpose. Now I look about it after that, I'm like, oh, I was cooked.
The fight wasn't the most exciting to watch and fell short of expectations. But if you pay close attention, the real story is in Joshua's dominance and control. Every punch, every movement showed precision and intent. Jake Paul's provocation sparked a reaction that was immediate and ruthless. Even if the spectacle lacked flair, the consequences of crossing Joshua were undeniable.
Yeah, it wasn't the best fight. It just wasn't the best thing to watch, was it? It was just, yeah, it weren't great.
Izzy's reaction captures shock and amazement at Joshua's knockout of Jake Paul. That response underlines the authenticity of Joshua's decisive power and precision. Observers can see that Joshua wasn't playing games. Every punch was intentional, every movement deliberate, showing why he's one of the most feared heavyweights. The reaction from the crowd and fellow fighters confirms the impact of that moment. There's no question about the legitimacy of Joshua's performance. The KO wasn't just a highlight. It was a lesson in discipline and immediate consequence for disrespect inside the ring.
Hey. Oh! This kid crazy. Oh!
That's like the first knockdown.
Well, second one in this round. It's 3 knockdown. I think that's it. 7, that's 8, 9, 10.
Eddie Hearn is pointing out Jake Paul's stubbornness and lack of understanding of boxing's rules and culture. That insight helps explain why Joshua's reaction was so extreme and unyielding. When someone disregards respect and professionalism, consequences are inevitable. Joshua doesn't hold back in these situations because discipline and authority matter in the ring. Paul's behavior wasn't just irritating, it challenged the boundaries that every fighter must respect. Joshua's response sent a clear message that crossing those boundaries leads to immediate and brutal correction, reinforcing his dominance and credibility.
Even he's stubborn and he doesn't understand what the business means to us. So, again, this is not something that we do often, but we're not fucking around.
Johnny Nelson is suggesting that Jake Paul is motivated by money and the lure of easy fights rather than skill or legacy. That context makes Joshua's victory even more significant because it wasn't just a fight, it was a reality check. Paul underestimated the risk and the consequences of disrespecting a true heavyweight champion. The financial motivation couldn't prepare him for the physical and mental dominance Joshua displayed. This served as a wake-up call, proving that regardless of money or hype, crossing Joshua in the ring has immediate and inescapable repercussions.
But Jake Paul himself might be cashing out because the big purses that he's pulling, fighting these has-beens or ex-fighters, they're dropping slowly but surely. So maybe, just maybe, this might be his last fight, getting in there with Anthony Joshua and getting knocked out.
Dave Coldwell explains that the situation escalated once physical contact occurred, crossing the line of respect in boxing. His insight clarifies why Joshua's response was not only justified but inevitable. The presser may have been competitive and tense, but when Jake Paul touched Joshua, he triggered a rule everyone understands. Joshua responded decisively, showing that discipline and boundaries are non-negotiable. This moment reinforces that respect inside and outside the ring matters, and that any provocation beyond words can provoke immediate and overwhelming consequences, which is exactly what unfolded.
I'm not surprised.
Does that cross the lane, do you think?
Yeah, it does. Listen, the presser was good. It was a great presser, back and forth, poking each other, but not too far. But once you get physical and you touch a man's face.
Johnny Nelson explains that the fighter would be furious in the moment because he knows the consequences of what he has done. This perfectly aligns with Joshua's situation, where Jake Paul crossed a line and provoked a reaction. Understanding the pressure and mental preparation behind a great training camp shows why Joshua's response was immediate and overwhelming. It wasn't random or uncontrolled, it was built from discipline and anticipation. When disrespect meets skill and composure, the outcome is inevitable. Fans watching closely can see that Joshua's actions were calculated and brutally effective, leaving no doubt about the lesson delivered.
Fury's thinking at the moment.
He'd be pissed off. He'd be pissed off because he'd be thinking, damn it, 'cause I know what stick I'm going to get. So at the time he said, I had a great training camp. So if you want us to believe that,
Tyson Fury admits that what happened was shockingly terrible and highlights how shaken he was by the events. His reaction mirrors the intensity and unexpected nature of the moment. Observers can understand that Joshua's actions weren't just physical dominance but a response to a serious breach of conduct. When even experienced fighters like Fury are stunned, it reinforces that Jake Paul crossed a line that should never be crossed. Joshua's knockout and reaction were completely justified, and Fury's response adds perspective on how unprecedented and striking that moment truly was in the boxing world.
The most boring question ever, isn't it?
Shockingly terrible. Yeah, shockingly, yeah. Down. Very much down. Can't shake it. Can't shake the cobwebs.
Adam Smith reflects that while such incidents are part of boxing, they are never condoned and shouldn't happen at a head-to-head. This perspective reinforces the controversy of Jake Paul's actions. Joshua's reaction becomes understandable because it was a natural consequence of provocation. The event became bigger precisely because boundaries were broken, and the world got to witness how a true champion handles disrespect. Observers can see the strategic and emotional control Joshua maintained before unleashing his response. The moment wasn't just entertainment, it was a lesson in consequences and the seriousness of conduct in professional boxing.
Twice as big for the casual fans. Do we condone it? I mean, in boxing terms, should that happen at a head-to-head? Of course not, but these things do happen. This is the fight business, and it's just made it even bigger, and we wait to see what happens next.
Johnny Nelson expresses disappointment and confusion over the chaotic nature of events and how information was unfolding in real time. This reflects the shockwaves caused by Jake Paul's actions and Joshua's decisive response. The situation demanded immediate attention and clarity, highlighting the seriousness of crossing the line inside the ring. Observers could see that Joshua wasn't just reacting in the moment, but executing a response built on training, discipline, and a need to enforce respect. The unfolding drama only amplified the impact of Joshua's knockout, showing that consequences in boxing are immediate, unavoidable, and unforgettable when rules and boundaries are broken.
It don't matter what drugs you take. It doesn't make you a better fighter. It might make you stronger. It might make you fit. It doesn't make you a better fighter. And that's proof. You know, so until more news comes out.
Anthony Joshua finally addressed the chaos inside the ring and laid out exactly what happened when Jake Paul crossed the line. According to Joshua, Paul's actions were completely disrespectful and provoked a response that was inevitable given the intensity of the moment. Watching the fight closely, it is clear that Joshua's reaction was controlled yet devastating, a perfect mix of skill and fury. Every punch landed with purpose, leaving no doubt that this was a lesson about respect and consequences in boxing. The knockout wasn't just about winning a fight, it was about sending a message to anyone who underestimates a true heavyweight champion. Observers, fellow fighters, and fans all witnessed the power and discipline Joshua brought into the ring. Are you backing Anthony Joshua, or do you think Jake Paul could have handled this differently? Drop your thoughts below and join the debate.